What up, y'all? Monica's here with me. She went to go grab her a cup of coffee, so she will be joining us shortly. So I hope everybody's doing good tonight. Man, it was a long freaking day for me, man. Like, I tried to go to, because I've been having this habit of waking up like super early, like 4 hours before my alarm clock's supposed to go off type shit. And so last night I was like, all right, man, just stay up late as hell. So I stayed up till like almost 4 o'clock in the morning. That way I could sleep through, And I freaking woke up at like 7:30 in the morning, like eyes wide open, couldn't go back to sleep. So it's been a hell of a day. How's everybody in the chat doing? Hope y'all are doing good. See, Josh is in here. Aristo, what up, y'all? What up? And there she is. Here we go. Bam.
Clowns is here.
Yeah, the clowns are here. Oh yeah. How was your day? I was just telling them my day was freaking long, man. I didn't catch my second wind till I was driving home, and Otis Redding came on the radio, and I was like,
That's nice.
Sitting on the dock of the bay.
That's nice and relaxing. My day was all right until the very end when I had to review my green code before I turn it in next week. Green code sucks. Green code's a pain in the ass in the construction industry if you're a GC that has to perform it on a gigantic job site.
Dig it.
Yeah, so everything was good. Sorry I missed the intro. I had to get more coffee so I don't fall asleep in the middle of this.
Yeah, I was thinking about getting a Monster on the way home, but they give me the jitters, so I don't want to be up here like
looking like you're all like tweaked out.
Yeah. I'll be like, what's Breezy on? I know he's on something.
He's on the caffeine.
Just a monster.
That shit doesn't do anything for me. I can drink Monsters and Red Bulls and like go to sleep.
Dude, it used to not at all. And then I remember the first time, like I thought it was like propaganda crap, right? I was like, dude, this ain't even like Jolt Cola. And I remember we were going into the studio to record our first studio album, and we were hungover, and drove all the way to Houston in the morning to go record in this big multi-million-dollar freaking studio. The one that actually La Mafia got all their platinum records in. Beyonce recorded there one time when we were there. But I ended up getting this thing that's called a Monster BFC. Stands for big fucking can. And it's like a 40 ounce, but it's a can. And I was like, yeah, drinking out of those things all the way to Houston. And by the time I got there, I was freaking wired out of my gourd. Like, I was like, they do work.
You're like,
yeah. Ever since then, I'm hooked on them, man. I had to literally stop drinking them for a couple of years because they really do. You get addicted to them, and B, like I don't eat much. You know that. Like I eat like maybe once every few days. I'm still a fat guy, but I just started gaining like mad weight, like just from one big Monster a day.
Really?
Like, yeah, because they pack that much sugar. I guess I don't know.
Damn.
Yeah, that's crazy. So I had to give them up, and when I did, I lost like freaking almost 60 pounds in like 3 months. Like I was pushing like 280. I got down like 220 from not drinking Monsters. It was just freaking nuts.
Gotta give up the Monster.
Gotta give them up, man. But speaking of the Otis Redding thing, here's a fun fact for all you cats and kittens out there. Sitting on the dock of the bay, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the whistle outro that.
Yeah.
You know why that is?
Why?
Ah, because he died in the plane wreck before the song was finished.
Really?
Hey, Quincy Jones
Huh.
did that became a number one hit. So that's how they closed out the song.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Greasy fun fact. No, it's not
You
about
know, Queen of the Damned, when Aaliyah was killed, she had filmed like most of her scenes and they could work with what they had, but they had to voice over because there's, you know, in acting, a lot of times you do have to go in and voice over sometimes that Mike doesn't catch it. And her brother, his voice was similar enough that he went in and dubbed like the few things that they still needed.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome. Monica fun fact. So you got Monica and a Breezy fun fact out of today's show. So,
There we go.
yeah.
Because I love that movie, you know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Queen of the Damned is awesome.
I know it doesn't follow the book like what's like at all.
Yeah. At all.
I like the movie, and I thought that not Peter Townsend. You know, Townsend, what's his name? Lestat.
Yeah.
That was a better Lestat
Then, yeah, I agree.
than Tom Cruise. And speaking of
Yeah, it was
Lestat,
definitely more accurate.
yeah, we're going to be hanging out in New Orleans.
Yeah. You know, that the thing that I think I hated the most about that rendition of it was the origin of Lestat. That like Marius created Lestat.
Oh, yeah, that's not true either. So inaccurate.
Yeah, because the dude that his name was Magnus, and he was, the way Anne Rice describes him is almost like the Nosferatu vampire. Like he's bald and has, you know, long pointy fingers, and but he never made a fledgling. So in the Anne Rice world of vampires, the more you make each time, the more diluted they are. They're not as powerful. So he lived, I forget, like 300 years or something, and never made a fledgling, and then made Lestat. But when he did, he just it's crazy how he did it. He kidnapped him, basically, put him in a cage, and then turned him, and then never said a word to him, and then threw himself into a pyre, you know. Big pyre. So Lestat had no idea. Yeah, he's like, what?
I'll give you the choice I never had.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's why he says that. Yeah. But so
it's interesting because Magnus was Roman?
I believe so.
Yeah, because in True Blood, the Eric's Northman's creator was a teenage Roman.
Yeah. Right.
And I always thought of Anne Rice when, you know, because he's in the books a little bit more than on the TV show, but when he was on the TV show, it made me think of Anne Rice.
Yeah. Well, Marius was a Roman. He had like long blonde hair, and I can't remember. I think it's in Blood and Gold, where there's like a connection between Marius and the crucifixion. Like he was a part of it or something. Can't remember exactly how it goes. It's been probably had 20 years since I read it. But yeah, there's a weird one there.
That's interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, so tonight's topic, we're going to get into something that me and Monica both believe and don't believe. So all the following, how would you say, all of the following theories about the moon are neither one that either one of us believes. Your point on the moon is, give us your take. Okay, right on. I don't believe it exists.
I'm going with the natural history portion of it. You're going with the five heavens theory.
Yeah, the seven heaven. Yeah, it's an illuminary. It's nothing more. It might as well be a giant freaking
It's a
light
giant
bulb.
nightlight.
Yep, exactly. But
I
what
don't
we're
believe
gonna
it's hollow. I don't believe it's hollow.
well, that's what we're gonna discuss and go down those rabbit holes that neither one of us believe in. But I think they're interesting rabbit holes nonetheless. Um, okay, so we'll start right there. The hollow moon theory, right? So if you don't believe it's hollow, so even by NASA's records, right? Then what's up with the big gong sound?
I don't know what you're talking about with the big gong sound. I have never heard the moon gong.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so
Mhm.
when they went up, they put seismographs in the moon, right, to study whatever. And see,
Mhm.
I don't believe in any of that either. So I'm just going by what other
Mhm.
people's theory is. But it is recorded that they did crash the lunar landers twice into the moon, and the first time it rang like a bell for over 3 hours. And the second time it rang like a bell for like 4 or 5 because it was a heavier impact. But it was like a dong. But in space, no one can hear you dong.
That's
But
right.
but according to the
Well, there's a thin atmosphere. There's an atmosphere. It's just hardly there. Because
right.
otherwise there would be no sound. There's no sound in space. There's nothing for the waves to travel through.
Well, it didn't. Yeah, I'm not saying it was necessarily an audible sound, but by the conclude
You're talking
by
about
the math, yeah, by
seismic
the
waves?
math, yeah,
Okay.
it would have had to have been a metallic base, and it would have had to have been hollow, and that's according to the big 4-letter word or 4-letter acronym or whatever.
Really, the 4-letter acronym or word agreed that the moon gonged.
Yeah,
with me.
Yeah,
really?
that's an actual
Where
thing.
is that written? Where is that written?
It is an actual thing. I'm a slower typer than you. You could probably Google it before I could. But
I can Google it then.
Yeah, the moon ringing like a bell. That's.
I want to know why the moon sounds like the Taco Bell gong.
But yeah, so it's from their narrative. So whenever you get into the hollow moon theory, so this goes down a pretty deep freaking rabbit hole as far as it being an artificial satellite. So if you look at any other moon on any other planet in our solar system, none of them have the rotate or keep the same rotation with the Earth to where you only see one side of it. None of the other moons are completely circular. They're all like big chunks of rock, and none of them. I forgot what the other one is. There's like 3 different anomalies about. Oh, none of them travel in a non-elliptical orbit. So it's the only one that's like that. So it's like it was. Are you reading the gong yet? You're muted for some reason. Can't hear. Yeah, you're muted.
Dang it.
There you go.
So compared to what moons? What moons are we comparing our moon to that it is unlike others? Any of them. So they're round. They're not chunks of like debris floating around planets.
But a lot of them are misshapen, right? Like if you take the moons of Mars.
Well, technically the Earth. I know you don't believe the Earth is a globe anyway.
I know that.
Pretend you did. It's not perfectly round because of the spinning. It's kind of compressed. It's actually kind of a compressed. I mean, it's circular, but it's a little compressed where it expands a little more on the.
Not according to the pictures from the moon.
Well, it's not that squished. It's not like a pancake, but it's not completely like circular either. Hmm.
And oh yeah, and also uh the ratio from the distance from the sun to Earth and how perfect it is. Like the reason why it creates a total eclipse, just that just happens to be the exact same size as the sun, even though they're different in distance, right? That's a weird one. So okay, so well that theory goes that the moon was actually created like a lifeboat, from an alien species. They came and parked it on Earth by Earth in the right place to terraform the Earth so that Earth could become habitable. And
Thanks for the
basically, it was.
time.
I'm just saying that's what they say. The people who believe in that. That it was deliberately put there, deliberately at that perfect distance to help terraform the Earth so it could make it habitable for the alien species to survive in Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, sure. Why not?
Okay. No, I knew.
Why not?
Yeah, I know. I knew this was going to be funny like that. And so then that also goes to the moon anomalies where you see like the big there's that big, and I try to look these up. I got a few of them that I pulled up, but the main ones I couldn't find because okay, so I believe that whenever it comes to the internet, especially, that they purposely use products and other stuff to put things on page 3 of Google or whatever, you know what I mean? So like if 20 years from now, if you say Tesla, everyone's gonna, you look up Tesla, everyone's gonna see
Right.
the cars and no one's gonna
And
see
not Nikola.
Tesla. Right. So when I did look at a lot of these things, like there is a big exhaust vent on the dark side of the moon. It looks like the nuclear reactor towers on The Simpsons, right? Yeah. So,
Okay.
but if you Google it, there's products. It's like called like the nuclear moon or something like that. I forgot. But I was looking at it and I was like, no, not this. And I'm like anomaly. And I'm like, no. Trying to use different keywords. Now, I couldn't find them. If you watch the Y-Files, did a really good one on it, and he covers a bunch of these. He actually, I don't know how I got it, but he's got the pictures that I remember seeing.
Oh, you're breaking so bad.
Yeah, I got one book.
There you are.
There I am. Okay. But yeah, so it's because I'm talking about it, and that's why.
It's the government trying to shut you up. Shut Joe Breezy down. He's spreading
so before I became to believe in what I believe now, I was a huge moon anomaly dude. Like that was my go-to. That's what I thought. I thought it was that there's all this stuff on the other side. That's why they don't show it. That the reason why we never went back is because they told us to get off and never come back. Because there's a whole account of Neil Armstrong saying that when they landed, there were these huge mile-long motherships on the edges of the craters, and they basically told us, pack your stuff up and get out of here and don't come back.
You got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Exactly. So, yeah, and then there's a picture of this thing that it was ridiculous, but it looks exactly like a X-Wing fighter from Star Wars that's like crash landed on the moon and it's billions of years old. I'm
Sure,
just
why
saying.
not? Sure. We've got The Simpsons, tower exhaust pipes on the other side of the moon. It's got to look like something from Mystery Science Theater, right? Like
Right.
it's a globe with two jets coming out of the backside of it.
Exactly. See, now you know.
Red dwarfy. All right. And then apparently the aliens or the government, whoever you think it is like shoving all the good stuff on the dark side of the room, like you do when people come over and you just start shoving crap into
Right.
drawers and into the closets. They're just hiding it to make it look tidy.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much.
To the people on the pancake below.
Exactly. According to their theory. Yeah.
All right.
But, okay. So, okay. Yes, Bristol, they did. And we're going to get into that one too, because they caught some pretty weird stuff. Have you heard of the Crystal Towers on the moon?
Let's just say I haven't heard any of this. So you just tell us all about it.
Okay. All right. So let me see. I got them. These are a few of them that I found. It is. Yes, I believe it is this one. So these are the Crystal Towers, and they're supposed to be like 4 miles tall.
Mm-hmm.
One of these is like that's the tall one, and then one of them is broken off, and it's floating above it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But these are all NASA photos, right? See,
Okay.
these are NASA. They said it, not us. There's supposed to be pyramids and
It looks like a geode.
yeah, geode kind of thing. Yeah, artifacts in the. So Apollo 17 was apparently when they went back and found all the, the jet holes and a bunch of the weird stuff going on. Yeah. So they're, it's like they're not. It's from the official narrative. It's not like something you can actually go to the NASA's website and look these pictures up yourself. You know what I mean? It's not like it's, some Photoshop that we made.
Right.
I think it's Photoshop they made because I don't think they ever went there. So there's another theory, right? Have you ever heard of the Soul Cube? I'm just gonna keep asking you if you have.
The answer is no. I have not heard of the Soul Cube. Please enlighten me. Are we trapping souls up there on the moon, kind of like Superman 2 style with the prism thing? Oh, you froze. Okay.
Am I back?
You're back.
Okay. Yeah, my kids freaking.
So when you say Soul Cube, I really do think of like Superman 2 and those people like trapped in the dimensional like pyramid-y thing.
And that was the Phantom Zone.
Yes.
Yeah. No, so the Soul Cube theory goes that the aliens, the reptilians and such, right?
Mm-hmm.
That they are actually demons, right? Mm-hmm. And they feed off of our suffering as human beings. So in order to keep feeding off of us, like energy vampires, which we believe in,
sure.
They actually end up sending, after we die, they send us to like our spirit or our souls to a timeout area so that we can be reincarnated to come back. And
like the purgatory bus. Okay.
Yeah, and keep reanimating our souls to where they can keep feeding off of it.
Recycling them like rechargeable batteries.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that theory goes is that there's a cube on the moon that's where we go. So when China went to the moon, Let's see.
Fly me to the moon.
Right. They found. Let's see if it's this one. A cube standing in the middle of the moon. Supposed to be
That
like,
looks like Superman's Fortress of Solitude, to be honest with you.
right. There you go. Oh, and I had another one, but I forgot to bring it up during the what do you call it? The hollow moon theory. Part of the hollow moon theory is that so craters only go to a certain depth in the moon. No matter they stop, like they have a bottom line. They don't get any deeper than a certain point. So that implies that this part would be closest to the metal shell underneath it. Right.
So the center of the crater would be the thinnest point of the crust.
Right.
Okay, before it hits the metal shell, I got you.
Right. And also that theory implies that what was it? How did it go? Dang it, I can't remember it. When NASA did go to the moon, they found that the dirt on top was actually older than the dirt underneath. So like it's backwards from like the Earth, right? So like you dig deeper on Earth, you get older rock. When NASA was going through it, they found it the exact opposite. That the oldest rock is, so that means that it's been pelted by older galactic debris than when it was created. Yeah.
I mean, where did they take the sample? At a crater rim where it would have kicked up older dirt? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. To me, it's all a hoop of a juve to me. So yeah.
It's a little much. But yeah, things stop at a certain point because when you impact, you decelerate, and the deceleration and the resistance from the earth or the dirt is going to slow everything down. So it's not going to punch through the dang thing. Right. I don't know.
Well,
and I doubt that they're all exactly the same depth.
No, they're not all exactly, but I think there's like a maximum depth, if I remember correctly. Like it's not like
crater. It's all size of the matter in the speed at which it hits. Right. So
yeah. In other words, there's a depth to the pool.
There's a physics equation for that.
But like on Earth, we get so if you believe in the impact zone of the Yucatan Peninsula, right? Mm-hmm. That's the deepest crater, right? So, and none of the others even come close. So
it's a pretty
had one of the
serious impact, yeah.
Yeah. So, but that doesn't exist, according to NASA, but whatever. But another interesting fact is, and one of the things I firmly believe, NASA actually in Hebrew is Nasa, which means to deceive. Mm. So yeah. So if you believe in like the thing like the monster can in Hebrew saying 666, it's kind of like one of those things, because the number 6 is the little L, so 666 is the monster logo. Right.
So that's what we're looking for on the Antichrist?
Well, no. Well, that's Mark of the Beast, but yeah, I'm just saying I don't buy any of their narratives at all. So to me, like we said in the beginning of this, to me I think it's all a bunch of hoopamajoo.
It's fun to talk about. I'll have to check out the Y-Files because I love the Y-Files. I think he does a good job and brings information in a fun way. And he shows both sides, which I do like. Mm. I can't stand that damn fish.
I love the hecklefish.
I don't like hecklefish. Flush it down the toilet, dude. Like, or shut it up. Gag, just ball gag it.
Picklefish and Gertie, and now they got the Beavers. They're hilarious.
Okay, I clearly have not seen him in a minute because I was unfamiliar with the Beavers.
The Beavers are awesome. They dance.
Are they angry Beavers?
No, they're happy Beavers. But it's a very the way he does it is it's very punned.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, we're making a smelly beaver company or whatever.
I remember because I mean, when the Angry Beavers were on Nickelodeon, my son was about the age range for that, right? So he had it on. I liked the Angry Beavers. I liked watching that cartoon with him. I thought it was pretty freaking hilarious. And I remember telling one of my coworkers about it. I said, yeah, I was watching Angry Beavers. And she's like, what the hell is that? I said, it's a cartoon on Nickelodeon. She goes, it sounds like a lesbian porn.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, I didn't think about it like that. So
you got to be immature like me.
Huh?
You got to be immature like me for.
It's got to slip out occasionally.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's horrible.
That's what she said.
Oh yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, like me personally, like I said, I think it's just an illuminary. Oh, this is an interesting fact from September 25th, according to scientists and meteorologists, or not meteorologists, but you know, whatever you call those people that study space, astronomers.
Oh, astrophysicists.
Yeah. We're having we're gonna have two moons from September 25th to November 25th. There's like a huge asteroid that's going to be coming in and getting locked into Earth's orbit, and it's going to rotate just like the moon for 2 months.
Really?
Yeah. It's
when is this? Because I'm Googling that shit too.
September 25th through November 25th. And it's odd how it comes and goes on, which also makes me go, what are those scoundrels up to? Yeah, it's like a big freaking meteor that's getting locked into orbit. So we will have two non-artificial satellites within Earth's orbit for 2 months. See, you're seeing it.
I know, but I want to know how big this damn thing is.
I think it's not big. It's not big. I want to say it's like 33 feet in diameter or something like that.
37 feet.
Yeah, there you
go. Okay, well, you're not going to be able to see it. It's going to look like a frickin' satellite, but
which don't exist, but yeah.
Yeah, satellites don't exist at all, right, Breezy? That's how we.
If they did, we wouldn't need all those underground cables for.
I mean, fuck Starlink, everything else. None of that's real.
No.
Your satellite phone, not real.
No. That's why it doesn't work in the dead zone in Mexico.
So that is really bizarre that it must have come in. I mean, that is such a bizarre thing for any, you know, celestial body, right, to get caught in our orbit like that. Because normally it's sucked in all the way and burnt up if it's that small.
Right, or slingshot it out.
Or it bounces off. You know.
Yeah, I think it's I think it's something fishy. I don't buy the fact that, because that's never, that we know of, has never happened. You know what I mean? Since people have been, since mankind's been looking in the skies,
Okay, so speaking of asteroids, let's talk about, Apophis. Are you familiar with Apophis?
Yes, I am.
The asteroid Apophis.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's an interesting thing, right? So next year, it's going to come pretty close. It's not trajectory to hit us, but it's coming close to hit us. At first, they thought it was going to hit us, but then they're like, okay, it's got to thread this one little narrow area. And I'm going to get this either if it does thread that, then we're safe, or if it doesn't thread that, then when it slingshots
Next
around the
come
sun
around.
and comes back in 2035, it's going to hit just off the coast of Santa Monica. Right. And it's going to go like 3 miles down. So I don't know, not 3 miles. It's going to go, anyway, it's going to hit the Pacific, and it's going to cause a lot of issues for the Pacific Rim. It's going to be a bad day for the West Coast.
It'll be the last day for the West Coast.
It'll be the last day for Santa Monica, that's for sure. But that's interesting to me that you know, and I'm really paying attention to it because space scares the shit out of me. There's so much crap out there that can kill. Oh my God, it scares the shit out of me. And knowing that this is a possibility, that I mean, that's not an ELE event, but it's big enough to cause a lot of problems for the Earth, obviously.
Yeah. It's supposed to be like a close to ELE from what I remember hearing about it. Like it's like a majority percentage is going to be.
Oh yeah, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. Like maybe I'll put my plans of moving back to California on hold a minute. We're going to see if it threads that needle or not next year. And I'll be like, you know what? I don't think I'm going to be retiring there. You know what sounds good? Interior Canada.
Then you got to worry about Yellowstone. It's like everywhere. Well, so okay, so I was thinking, right? So I just thought of this. Okay, say if this new moon, right, is actually a project, you know what I'm saying? Then that would line up actually with what they're talking about with the Betelgeuse thing. You know what I'm talking about? How it's supposed to go.
Betelgeuse going supernova?
Going supernova.
Yeah.
So they could be like, oh, it's going to go supernova. And they're really just testing out their projector, you know.
For Project Bluebeam?
Yeah, Project Bluebeam. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's it. But I mean, this new moon, it's 37 miles wide. You are not going to see it. Not miles, it's 37 feet wide. If it's 37 miles wide, we'd be screwed. Because it only takes an asteroid a mile wide. A mile wide is the magic size that will wipe us all out.
Right.
So it's 37 feet. You're not. You are not. It's going to look like a satellite, like one of those little dots circling. Yeah. And that's only when the sun hits it. You're not going to be able to see it all the time. You ever notice why a satellite fades in and out?
Yeah.
No, Joe doesn't wonder because they're not real.
But
okay,
no, but yeah, because that's, if you really think about it, like relatively, say I did believe in space and all that, it wouldn't even be like anywhere near even the size of like Hellbot or Halley's, you know, not even the size of a comet. You know what I mean?
Well, shit, I hope.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if their math is correct, you know, we wouldn't even see it like that. You know.
No, you're not. You're not going to see it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like throwing. How can I? It's like throwing a grain of sand in the middle of your living room and being like, "Find it." You see it? Do you see it yet?
I've done that with other kinds of rocks and searched. But
yeah, Hellbot. That was a cool name, like a Hanson song. Hellbot, do-wop-a-da-bop.
God, please! Now it's gonna be in my head. No.
Which one is that? The one that collided with Jupiter that got eaten by? Was it?
No, that was the one where it broke into three, and yeah. No, that was the one where the cult went after it. The dudes in the Adidases.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They thought that they were riding the back end of the
It
UFO.
sucks if you like your ride to heaven gets swallowed up by Jupiter. That sucked.
No, Hellbot was the one that they were supposed to ride.
Giant.
Yeah, the other one was totally different.
Yeah.
The Jupiter one was different than the Hellbot.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it was that catchy Hanson song that made them want to hitch a ride.
Dude.
On the way, man.
The sad part is that Jen's young enough to where she actually legit jams that song. Like if it comes on, she's all, yeah.
It's my like, childhood. Oh. And you're like, oh.
I'm like,
See,
where's
I feel that way about 70s music. I cannot stand most, not all, but most 70s tunes.
Really?
Turn that shit off. Turn it off. I feel about the 70s like I feel about the late 90s, early 2000s. It was a wasteland of crappy music. And there was a few good things that came out of it. Not saying it all sucked, but by and large, not my favorite.
You mean like 70s pop, not 70s rock, right?
No, not 70s rock. No.
Okay.
Like top 40 mainstream, like 70s. Like whoever was doing the goddamn hustle. that kind of music.
Okay, 70s pop. I got you. Yeah. Okay, I'm right there with you. Yeah, pop didn't get good till the 80s. Like that's what it blew up.
And it wasn't immediately upon transition into the 80s. It took a minute. Took
a solid minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you got Kiss doing a disco album, you're in a bad decade.
You know what's sad is I can do the hustle. I hate that music, but I know how to do the hustle because it's easy and I can't dance worth a shit. I have the rhythm of a pencil. This is me. I cannot dance. I can ballroom dance, but I can't like if we went to a school dance, I would even in the 80s when people were like having seizures on the floor and it was normal, I still wouldn't get up there and do it.
My favorite dance was freaking what's his name? Dang it. Is Friday the 13th Part 4 with the dude who played Marty McFly. You remember that scene? Yes.
Creepy dude. What's his
I forgot his freaking name.
Crispin
Glover.
Yeah.
That was the greatest 80s dance ever to live.
If there were people around me dancing like that, I might have given it a go. I'd have been like, I'm not that bad. I can do that.
Yeah, you can get me on. Well, I take that back. You can. It just takes a lot of boobs.
I will ballroom dance, though. I love ballroom dancing. I love ballroom dancing, and I love bluegrass music. I am a weird chick. Layered like an onion.
Layered like an onion. Yeah. But as far as and then there's the moon thing that we did in the 80s where we hung our asses out of car windows.
Ah, the old ham. It was the full moon, the pressed ham. Always a good time. Okay,
Dude,
I got to tell you a story about getting mooned. It wasn't back in the 80s, though. So when I first moved to Texas, I lived in Fort Worth, over in that area. I moved to Dallas, lived in Dallas for a little while, and then I moved down to Houston. So at the time, I worked for Neiman Marcus, driving into work, have my suit on, doing my thing. First day in Houston, driving to work. I'm on the freeway. And minded my business, speeding like a maniac like I do. So there's this beat up, like old Ford truck, like pulling up alongside to me. And he's like pulling up and pulling back and pulling up. And I'm like, and I tried to not look at people because I just don't want to make eye contact with other people. And so he starts honking and I'm like, oh, like I don't have I don't want to look. So I'm kind of glancing over without turning my head. And he keeps like trying to like race me, like pull ahead and then go back. And finally I just look over and he's honking his horn and he's waving and I'm looking thinking, okay, something's up, did I leave something on the car? So I look over and this dude, when I look over, he waves at me and I don't know how he did this. Somehow he kept that truck going at like 70 on the highway, pulled his pants down and pressed his ass against the back window while he's driving. He was like, hey, you, look at my butt. Look at it. Behold.
Awesome.
So, I was actually pretty impressed that he was able to do that without flipping the truck.
Multitask.
Right. I was like, you deserve an applause for that. So that's that was the last time I saw a full moon like that. It was a full moon at 7 a.m. on the outer loop down in Houston.
So yeah, my funniest story, I have a few, but the best one, I think, we had two vehicles, and it was like my mom and my stepdad and my grandma and my aunt were in one car, and then like I think a cousin, like an older cousin of mine, and me and my two brothers were in my stepdad's truck, and we're taking a trip, like a family trip to Laredo, and like somewhere down 35, we taught my middle brother, we were all like, dude, we're gonna pull up a moon.
Was it a cop?
Yeah, and we pulled up next to the car my parents and grandma and aunt were in, and he mooned them out the window, and we were laughing our asses off. We get to like south of San Antonio and pull off to get gas or something, or food or something, and they beat his ass. So they did not find any humor in it whatsoever. And he's like, no, they told me, because he was a little kid. He's like, no, they told me to. No. They dragged him into the bathroom and put a new shade of red on his ass.
I bet they did.
Yeah, because grandma was in the car. So disrespectful, but we thought it was freaking hilarious. Who cares? We used to do that driving back from San Francisco because, even back then, traffic sucked in the Bay Area. And we inevitably get stuck in traffic and we get bored, or even just driving. So it was like an hour to the city, which was in Texas, that's nothing. An hour's nothing. But in California, you're like, oh my God, an hour. So, being a kid, we were bored and we would make faces like my friend and I remember doing this. We would make faces like at the cars next to us, like puff your cheeks up and put them against the window, or like smash it, like just being stupid kids. I remember doing that. And I told my friend to do it once and it was a cop next to us. Thankfully, he had a good sense of humor. He just kind of laughed. But yeah, no, we didn't moon anybody. We just made stupid faces. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah, there's a bunch of that. I can't, man. Because, I couldn't even count the moon experiences. And not the lunar moon. They were, especially after Revenge of the Nerds came out. That took off, skyrocketed, man.
I'm sure. Yeah. I remember in high school we were protesting something. I'm sure it's whatever to get out of class. So we were out front, like protesting teacher pay or some stupid shit. We were just trying to get out of class. And we had a closed campus, so you weren't really allowed to leave for any reason. And this was in the middle of the day. And I don't know how these guys, like somebody must have lived nearby and kept their car at their house, because while we're all out there, the news crews are out there, and this black truck, and I know whose truck it was. I still remember this. 3 of the guys were in the bed of the truck, and as they drove by, they all dropped their pants for all of us. That was kind.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay, so yeah, I guess that sums up the moon. Since you know,
And with that, we conclude the moon.
Oh, okay. So, all right. Just to expand on it. So
Okay.
I remember this. Okay, so one of the supporting ideologies, or I guess theories, about the moon being the hollow spaceship that came to terraform Earth and carried with it extraterrestrial life, right?
Sure.
Is like the humanistic fact of being here on Earth. So, like, if you think about it, by their theory, humans aren't actually meant to be on Earth, right?
Oh.
So if you think about all the other species of life, right, we're the most alien. So, like, no other species gets sunburn, right? No other species, their backs don't start to hurt as they reach not even midlife, because we're not built for the gravity. We're also the only ones that. Okay.
Just a minute. See, now animals do get sunburned. And I'm pretty sure they do get the old arthritis. Oh, you got a drink? What'd she make you? What'd she make you?
She made me a drink. She just got out of the shower, so she's like, I'm not going in there.
Tell her I want one.
Right. But yeah, okay, so when we're babies, right, like almost every other species, once they're born, they're pretty quick to adapt to be on their own. Like, we can go up to like 2 years. You leave a 3-year-old on its own, and it's history. You know what I'm saying? So there's a in that theory, I'm not saying it is, in that theory, that we're the only alien species.
Okay, so if we look at the primates, I would say that our young are very similar in need, right? For the life expectancy, that it's probably a pretty similar attachment to the mother.
Right.
In primates.
Right.
What we are, right? We're a primate. I think. Let me put that down there. And so I can see where, yeah, like we're not like deer or moose where, we plop out a mom and
ready to rock and roll.
An hour later we're frolicking through the field. It's not like that. But if you compare us to other primates, then I would say that it's very similar.
Mm-hmm.
So primates whole would need to be considered alien.
Yeah, because that goes into the that spills over into another huge theory, which is the Anaku Theory, right? So that they brought the primates with them and then started genetically splicing, and that's where you get the different. You got to get the Neanderthals, because they're mixing and matching, trying to figure it out, trying to perfect it, so that they can save their own planet through mining ours from gold and yada yada yada. And one of the big ones is if you look at what do they call those places where they mines, like, but not like underground mines, like gold mines or lithium mines, or, and they like, you take pictures of that and compare it to like the Grand Canyon. They look like identical, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. So that's part of that thing, is that, you know, that's what they were doing. They terraformed Earth to utilize because why come here unless it had something that they needed, you know, that kind of a thing.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay. So the Grand Canyon is an abandoned mining operation.
That's hey. You know. Okay. I mean, that's their theory. You know, that's one of the theories.
Sure, why not? Why not?
But to clarify, this isn't really a drink. It's just a big cup of rum with an ice cube in it. So it's not like she was like, "I'll make you
You're drinking it, aren't you?"
I'm just saying, if you make it so.
I was looking at my wine on the counter in there, and I was like, really want a bottle of wine right now.
Hey, it's the Breezy Speakeasy. That's what
I mean, we're going into a weekend, but I have to get up like freaking the butt crack of dawn tomorrow because I have a doctor's appointment.
You are one of the busiest people, I swear.
It sucks. Because let me assure you, I would love nothing more than laying there like a freaking lettuce, like just like a freaking carrot. I just want to lay there, do nothing on my weekends because I am busy during the week.
Well, that's a good one, Wedge. That was one of them too. The low light vision, like other animals. But yeah, so I remember when the Y-Files did it. I was actually jotted notes down about each of these reasons. So when he did it, he went in as a skeptic, and now he's pretty much a full-on believer in the hollow moon.
Really?
Yeah, he did say, yeah, he's like, dude, I went into it. He'll tell it on his channel. He's like, I went into it thinking this is bull crap. He's like, and after all the evidence and stuff, he's like, yeah, yeah. Look at.
So when they say it rings, they're not talking about an audible sound. They're talking about seismic waves bouncing back and forth. And I would like to point out that when the Earth is struck, it also rings. When there are sizable earthquakes, it rings.
Right, but not for hours. And they deduced that, that the only way it could is through it being a hollowed shell.
Who deduced that?
NASA.
No, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. No, they didn't.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just saying. That's what they
consider said. The size of it and consider the severity of the impact. It's going to ripple until the ripples naturally decrease and dissipate. No, they didn't.
I'm just saying, I don't believe in anything they say, so it's
you're like, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, it's cool.
I don't believe them either.
Exactly. I just think it's funny because I like, and I'm not, I'm having fun with it because I think it's hilarious whenever people are confronted with something that they solely believe in and you can't shake. They know it. They don't just subscribe to it. They fully believe it, and then I just love the look where it's like, no, absolutely not.
No, I'm not saying no because I'm so steadfast in my belief. I'm saying no because I just can't imagine. I'm going to definitely fact check that little bit. If they compared it to something like that, that is not saying that's what it is. I think a lot of
Right.
people take that information out of context as well. That it rang for several hours. It rang like a bell. People think that it means that it ting. It rang like a gosh darn bell. That's not what they mean.
Yeah, no, but no, it's I had this. So my grandmother had her 82nd or 83rd birthday just recently, and we all went there, and like, my brothers and my mom and my pops, they were all there, and we were sitting out front starting to drink and stuff, and they started talking about like deep state and all this, the Bohemian Grove type stuff, you know what I mean? They're like, oh yeah,
that's my jam. Let's talk about
right, yeah. Yeah, but so they started going off on that, and I sat there and I started I was just laughing, and my pops looks over at me, he's like, what the fuck are you laughing at, man? And I was like, dude, I remember about 7-8 years ago when I was saying all this stuff, and y'all were like, dude, you have lost your goddamn mind. What are you talking about? No, they don't meet up at some place. There's not some kind of world.
Yeah, they do. Are you kidding?
Yeah. They back then they used to ridicule me and make fun of me for it. If like literally like thought I had lost my shit, like I was hopeless. And then I'd start getting texts from him. He's like, "Did you know that blah blah blah?" And I was like, "Yeah,
I did know that.
I knew about that right back when I told you about it, and you said to get the hell out of your house because I was full of shit."
Remember that? Do you remember that?
Do you remember? Partridge Farms remembers. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's so old. You remember back in the simpler times?
Right.
When a child had to walk roll in the snow uphill both ways barefoot.
Both ways. Oh yeah. Back when they had Bartles and James and Oval Redenbacher.
Oh God, I love Bartles and James. That was the high school drink back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Wine coolers. And they had it was Baskin Robbins. There were so many freaking flavors of wine cooler, and they all tasted the same. Like they tasted like I'm going to get mildly buzzed because there's not enough alcohol content in this to really do any damage.
Yeah, this is true.
That's where Wild Turkey comes in.
Yeah. Yep, definitely.
Or in my case, Jack Daniels. I still can't smell that stuff. I cannot smell Jack Daniels. Whiskey at all, really.
Yeah, we touched on that. Like Jen, she's a Jack girl, but I won't drink it. So we settled it, and I'm like more of a tequila or a Crown guy, but we settled in the middle at Captain Morgan's.
I'm a gin girl. I like the gin.
You like gin? Oh,
gin, gin. Here it goes back.
One of my favorite gins to drink is Gilby's. Have you ever had Gilby's? It's like mulberry gin.
Well, yeah, all gin's mulberry gin.
Is it? I thought it was weird. I thought it was different. I always thought of it like Mayberry.
I can't remember. It's some weird thing. That's why it's got such a different flavor.
Okay, but because I can't stand what was that stuff that became popular during the Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre era?
Gin and juice.
Well, no, but it was a certain kind, Tanqueray.
Oh, Tanqueray. Yeah.
So
I do Bombay Sapphire. Usually, I think I have a bottle of that in there. I don't drink very often, so I probably had it for like fucking 10 years or so. I drink like this much out of the bottle a year. But my favorite gin drink, and I will order it anywhere I go, is a Tom Collins.
Tom Collins.
Heavy on the Collins. Because I like sweet and sour.
What the hell is a Tom? I've never had one. I've
heard
of
it. You know what a vodka Collins is?
Nope.
Okay, so essentially vodka Collins is a vodka Collins. The Tom Collins is gin instead of vodka. And Collins mix, which is essentially sweet and sour. And then it's sweet and sour gin, and then a shot of the fizzy water. I'm blanking on it.
Tonic?
Tonic. Well, I don't like tonic. No, it's seltzer water. Let's call it seltzer water.
Okay.
Seltzer, because I don't like tonic. Tastes weird. I don't like tonic. So a shot of seltzer, and I'm pretty sure that's it. So it's sweet and sour gin, and then soda water. Club soda.
All right. I'm down. Well, I'll have to get a Tom Collins when we go to Temple. We get out.
Yeah, you gotta like the taste of gin though, because it's some people are heavy-handed on the gin. Some people are heavy-handed on the Collins. I'm okay with the normal shot of gin and just go heavy on the Collins.
Right on. No, but yeah, if you ever get a chance, or if we ever meet up, Gilby's gin. I don't know what it is about it, but you can drink that stuff like
really
straight. Yeah, you can drink it straight. Like me and my uncle, whenever I go to my uncle, he lives in Seguin. When I go to his house, he always buys a half gallon just for us to sip on. Yeah, we'll drink the whole half gallon in like the first night.
Dude,
like it's nothing. With our beers,
okay, well, and you'll have to text me that stuff, and then I'm going to go buy a little bit of it tomorrow, and I will try it.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I have to do 3 shows tomorrow night. I overbooked myself. I'm a little upset at myself for that, agreeing to do all of that.
No shit. What shows are you doing?
I'm doing Paranormal Paul. So I'm doing Paranormal Among Us, because he's interviewing somebody who reportedly has this like terrifying Bigfoot encounter out near Mount St. Helens. And because that's kind of my old stomping ground, then I wanted to be in on that. So I wanted to be part of that. And he was looking for a co-host. So I was like, I'll do it. So he goes on at like 8. And then right after that, I agreed to be on Donnie Cho's show. And I forgot until he texted me last night. And he's like, are you still good to be on my show? Saturday. What time? Yeah, so I'm going straight from Paranormal Paul over to Donnie Cho Says Stuff. And then after that, because I have no idea how long Donnie goes on. And then I do my usual Saturday night at 11 with BMR.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
When's you doing the Chamber of Curiosities or whatever that one?
Oh, Codex. Tuesday.
Oh, Tuesday.
So it'll be on Codega's Codex.
I always get that mixed up because there's that Guillermo del Toro Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, that was a good one. I like that.
That was a good show, yeah. Yeah, you're gonna be busy.
Yeah, I am. I'm going to be exhausted, so don't bother trying to talk to me. I'm going to be like, nah.
No, I won't. I know when to stay away.
Screw that. I'm staying home.
Yeah. When Jen gets off work and she gives me that look, I know to just, figure my own world out.
Figure it out.
Nope. I'm like, oh, yeah, yes, ma'am. I will not be bothering you whatsoever.
Oh my gosh. So Ristol says Rye has been putting out some amazing shows. Like he has. I watched his stuff this morning. It was pretty good. He wants me to talk about Faye. So
if anyone can talk about Faye, it's you.
I guess.
No, you're good at it.
I didn't even realize I knew as much as I knew. To be honest with you, it's hilarious. Like I'm doing all these little shorts and I'm like, well, I should talk about that. Think of all the different things you do.
You got books about it. I mean, that shows, interest.
I mean, well, it's like an odd little thing. And you know me, anything odd, I want to know. As long as
Audacious
it's odd
Atlantis. Yeah, that ties into that one moon theory too, the Atlanteans.
21 CD is a great podcast. Iceland to look for Hildefolk or Fae. Yeah.
Hildefolk.
In my last short that I did over on my channel, I asked people, I took a poll. I don't know if I did the poll on Facebook, but I did the poll on Instagram to see if they want me to talk about the Tomte from Scandinavia, or the Nisse, which are the gnomes, or the Sin Eaters, which is actual historical stuff. The Sin Eaters from Wales and Ireland.
I can dig it.
Sin Eaters are winning, just so you know.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I would have gotten more into the Fae and stuff like that. I just always looked at that as, I didn't really realize that was a real thing. I guess you just kind of grow up with it. Like we were talking last night about like Willow and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You just kind of look at it like and I guess it's because it's culturalism, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the Western culture, it's not even folklore. It's just the imagination. You know, you got Tinkerbell. Yeah, imagination. But yeah, you got like Tinkerbell, and that's all you know about fairies and stuff like that. But you know that in another culture, that's serious shit.
It is. I mean, yeah, it really is. Like you go into Scandinavia, especially, they're really like they ain't kidding over in Iceland. They're not kidding.
Yeah.
And I mean, but like native folklore, right? The little people, the Pukwudgies, those are all Fae, in my opinion.
Yeah, just different. Yeah, I'd subscribe to that. You know, from what I've learned to date, you know, which isn't much, but yeah, because I was actually watching one about the fairy circles, and this one dude, he went to like it was over there somewhere, Scotland or Ireland or something like that,
right?
And yeah, and he's like, oh, we're gonna go to this fairy garden, or and it was like a grove of trees, and he's like, first we got to ask for permission to go in, and he like knocks on the trees, and then he goes into it, and it looks like a different freaking world. Like it looks literally majestic.
Fairy portals, yeah.
Yeah, it's still forest, but it's like majestic looking, And then I learned that not necessarily the Fae, but that's where the expression "knock on wood" comes from, because you're supposed to knock on trees. Yeah.
You knock on to ask for the wood folk for protection.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, holy shit. That's where that comes from. It's not just
my introduction to fairies when I was 10 years old. Like outside of Tinkerbell. And it's got all kinds of cool stuff in it. Sorry, I'm hijacking your show.
No, go for it. No, I went off on the moon for
now we're gonna go off on fairies. Look at, I mean, can't see it. Like the illustration's outstanding on this thing. And it talks about every one of them. It's got mermaids in here. It's got, well, obviously the red caps that I talked about. It's got the different flowers because they're associated, like bluebells. It's a type of fairy.
I'm down with the mermaid thing. I think that's, have you seen some of the, well, like we were talking about last night, that's a hard one too, because with all the BS and Photoshop and
that's a mermaid.
Yeah. There's stuff
they're
like
scary.
that.
They're not that. They're that.
No, there's this one video I was watching, and it was like from underwater cam, I guess. And y'all don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm like, I believe it. Look, it's on TV. But yeah, that's what they looked like, and they had like these long freaking like teethy snouts, but yeah, Yeah, they were stuff that nightmares are made out of. They weren't like some hot chick that, you know.
Right? They
Well,
are. They're
yeah,
terrifying. They're there to eat you.
right. So, okay, since you brought that up, um, where would you go with as far as the relationship between the sirens and the mermaids? Do you think they're, cousins
Yeah, I
or
think they're cousins for sure. They're related, but I don't think they're the same thing.
same thing, right?
Yeah. Um, so let me do this really quick. Let me answer this question really quick because it's going to take me forever to type it out. So I'll just say it. So in the chat, Wedge said, what exactly is a sin eater? Is it an entity? No, it's a person. Long story short, it was believed at one point in time that if anything that was passed over the body, like the soul could be absorbed, like I talked about the katshi on my short the other night, it's a type of fae. It's a fae entity. And it was thought that if the katshi passed over a deceased person before burial, the soul was still in your body before burial, that the act of passing over it by the katshi, it was stealing the soul out of the body. So they tried, to keep it at bay during the wake. And also they believed that by placing food items either directly on the body or passing it over the body, that the sins would be absorbed into the food or the drink. And there was typically one person in every village that was designated as the sin eater. And when a person would pass away, they would either put the food on them or pass it over them. And it was the job of the sin eater to consume that food, therefore consuming the sin. So when this person is interred and their spirit lifts up into heaven, they have a clean soul. All the sin has been taken out of them. And then when the sin eater dies, sucks to suck. Like they were oftentimes shunned because they had consumed all of this sin. So they were shunned in the community as being like super evil because of all the sin they had consumed over their lives. But it's good to point out that a lot of this took place in times of famine when there wasn't a lot of food. So, resources were kind of scarce in a lot of very rural villages. It was tough to eke out a living. So if people were offering you free food and drink, I think a lot of people would be like, I'll be your sin eater, so that I can eat. So there we go. That's a sin eater in a nutshell.
Kind of like eating sushi off a naked chick. I dig it.
Exactly.
No, that's actually really cool. I was not knowing this of which you speak. So you just taught me something.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know what a sin. I didn't even know it existed. So
yeah, I know all kinds of weird shit. Obscure crap right here.
Yeah, me too. Just not in some of those levels. Like I know it takes 2.2 gallons of oil to make a tire. Like,
well, that's cool. I didn't know that. See, I like the old knowledge. I love that stuff. Like old traditions, old folklore, old practices.
I mean, I know that there's fae-ish type what would you call it? Not calling them cryptids, but fae-ish type beings in even Native American culture.
Mm-hmm.
But
fae entities, the katshi, right? The katshi is a fae entity. It's a fae, but it takes the form of a giant black cat with a white patch on its chest.
Right. That's what Diddle is, but she's not giant. Thank God.
She's a katshi.
She has a little white patch. Right? Yeah,
Does she have a little patch on her chest?
Yeah.
Don't let her jump over anybody's dead body then. Snatch that soul.
It'll probably be mine. She's like, I got you now. Remember all the times you sprayed me with that hairspray full of water? Get off, Diddle.
Who's got your soul now, mister?
Who's got your soul now? Got your soul meow.
Yeah.
Right on. So Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just reading Ristel's comment.
Yeah, we're subjectless, so if y'all got any, shoot some ideas our way.
Yeah. Okay, so have you seen the videos of people like where the trees are bending to them?
No, but I am intrigued by the videos of the walking trees. Those creep me out.
Yeah, that would creep me out too.
Yeah, but no.
And get back into Fangorn. Get out of here.
But do you mean like so? Like they're like basically because I've seen the ones where the dudes are doing like the Doctor Strange, where they're like making waves settle and water calm. So like airbenders, waterbenders, earthbenders, firebenders.
Yeah, the waving trees. There's waving trees, and then there's also videos where I'm sure it's somebody like a green screen kind of thing, but there's somebody like walking up to a tree line, let's say, and they're like, look, there's nobody like around this tree, like they're filming around, they're like, there's nobody up in the tree, and then they'll turn around and flip the camera, so they're like taking a selfie with the tree, and they'll kind of back up and they'll say hi, you know what's going, do you want to say hi, do you want to touch my shoulder, and a branch will come down and like settle on them, like you'll see the branch bend down and come to them. And I'm like, what kind of CGI sorcery is this? Because it's pretty, it looks pretty good.
Pretty awesome.
And the same thing, people will say, oh, be walking along trails. And I'm like, oh, we've got happy trees. I mean, and it's not so dense that you couldn't see somebody standing there shaking a tree if there was a person there. So, but they're like, the branches are like jazz hand in it. I'm happy to see you.
Well, and even I was watching the news the other day because I was burnt out on YouTube and streaming, but yeah, they were actually even talking about how scientists are now considering vegetation a literal life form.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, like it.
Are you kidding me?
Right. Well, it actually has communication skills.
Like a sentient life form?
Yeah, like a sentient life form.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's becoming official.
Sure. I mean, the telegraph vine, they talk through the root systems.
Right.
For a minute, for a hot minute.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but if you rewound it like 10 years ago and you said that, people would be like, yeah, you're freaking mind.
Well, mainstream, sure, Monica would have still been like, yeah, duh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. because that is true. That when that's why people go, oh, if you put on like Beethoven or classical music,
they perk up.
They perk up, but that also works, so if you're talking like the earthbenders, so that'd be like an earthbender type of thing, and then same with water. So like whenever you freeze water, if it's like in a positive environment, the crystals look a different way than they do if it's in a negative environment.
Oh, sure.
So if you
look at, I'm telling you, it's energy.
Yeah, I believe so too.
If what you throw out it has a humongous impact on your immediate environment. It really is.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, this is like when the 90s, I think it was like in, what was that channel that was big, like E-Bombs World or something like that. There was like it was basically a dude, it was a video of a dude like cutting a tree, cutting limbs off a tree, and but they added like the 80s horror, music and like the transient filming where it was like blue and then red. And I was like, dude, like I was like, not to sound like a freaking vegan or something, but that's actually very, pretty accurate. Like, yeah, you're freaking cutting off my limbs and, like slashing me apart. Like,
Right.
if you had a consciousness,
Well, no, and I do think about that. Like it pains me for a multitude of reasons to see trees cut down, especially old trees. Because where I live, there's these just gorgeous old oak trees. They're beautiful.
yeah,
And they're alive. They're thriving. And then, they want to put in a frickin' Circle K or some shit.
yeah,
And down they go. And that just crushes my soul to see that.
yeah,
Nature just destroyed. And I sound like a tree hugging hobbit here, but I think of the Lord of the Rings, right? Where
tree walker.
Saruman, like, is revealed to be, evil essentially, and he starts destroying the forests out, in a radius out and away from them, and they're pulling the trees down, and you hear the trees groaning and crying. The groaning of the wood is the crying of the tree, and it's just such, an obvious, symbolism for, industrial world destroying the natural world. And oh God, it just pains me. It just pains me because because I love trees and I love nature, and I also know that they're alive, and I don't know what they can feel,
Right.
And I remember I had a store. Okay, so I was a store manager for a little while, and we were building a new store, and they wanted to redo the landscaping. And this is like at the new store, we were doing an interior remodel, and management wanted to redo the landscaping. There are these gorgeous, like, old shrubs. They were just, like boxwood shrubs. They weren't anything, to write home about, but they had been there a long time. They had grown thick trunks. They were beautifully shaped. There were bird nests in them. And the thought of, I just don't like the way that looks, rip it out and throw it away. Like, I'm destroying the home of these birds. I'm destroying this living thing that is this bush. Like, I sound so stupid. I know I do. I know I sound stupid.
No, you're right.
Like, do we have to rip? Like, it hurt me to like do that because they were thriving there, and to just be like, yeah, like the way you look, yeah.
You're ugly. I'm gonna kill you now.
I'm gonna take away the birds' home. Screw you, Bush. Get the F out.
No, but if you really think about it, even on just like, a logical nature, it's true. They have, what do you call it? Self-preservation, right? I mean, why is it the reason that freaking cactuses have spines on them?
Right.
To keep predators from eating them, in the desert, to get water and nourishment from them. So they literally, evolve or develop to their climate to keep things away from them. Why does mesquite, have huge thorns, right? To keep deer from and other shit from eating them. You know what I mean? So if you didn't have some form of intelligence to advance your civilization or your growth as a species, then it wouldn't matter. You would just be like, well, whatever, they'll just eat us. Yeah. I have no intelligence enough to,
not smart enough to keep breathing. So
exactly, there you go. Yeah. Thank you. That's why I can't do this without you. You're the yin to my yang, even if it is the moon.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, I know I sound like a tree hugging hobbit, but I don't know. Part of me, I'm a big old softy. I'm a nice person. See, I got good karma. I got good vibes.
I got good vibes. Now, there was actually, I remember back in it was either the late 80s or early 90s, there was this giant freaking tree that was in Austin. Yeah, I believe it was in Austin. Yeah, no, it was like I think it was down by Zilker Park or something, but it was like the oldest tree in the area, and it was like 300 something years old, and it was like a national, or not a national, but a city preservation thing. Like you couldn't even touch it or do anything like that. And some dude or somebody, people actually went and poisoned it and killed it.
Ah,
Yeah, and it was big shit. Like they put out like, like wanted posters for these people. And
well,
they're
yeah.
like, yeah, like you freaking killed a landmark. You know what I mean? And I remember on in North Austin on Breaker Lane, because we used to walk there all the time and go mess around and do a bunch of stuff kids shouldn't be doing. But there was an oak tree right on the edge of Breaker Lane, and it had like a plaque, and it was like this tree was born in 17 to 70 something or whatever, wherever.
Oh, they have that in Boston Common.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have
so I was like,
trees like that.
yeah, I always remember being a kid and being like, shit about a tree, you know what I mean? But yeah, now that I'm older, I understand it.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool.
Bristol said, I heard a good question the other night. How do vines that pop in the middle?
I'm going to kill my camera for a second.
Go for it. Know which direction to grow to the nearest tree.
That's a good question.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I actually have a, what are they called? Glory, Jen knows the name of it. The only reason I know it is because it used to be like a thing where you get toasted if you ate glory seeds or whatever. But they're vines.
Glory seeds.
Yeah, remember those? Or
no. Morning glory seeds.
Morning glory. There you go.
Really? Glory. That's a nightshade. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they're all over our property right now. Yeah.
Please tell me you're not eating morning glory anything, because I'm not kidding. That's a nightshade.
No, that was a thing back in the day. They'd be like, "Oh, if you boil morning glory, let it dry out, you smoke it, man, it gets toasted."
Yeah, that's you poisoning yourself.
Yeah. Oh cheers.
Yeah, you'll die real fast. It's called a deadly nightshade. Don't do that.
No, I'm not saying I do, but they're like what Rissa was talking about. They found, I guess, the cedar trees out here, so they're like just engulfing them.
Oh,
completely.
Yeah. I mean, morning glories are beautiful. I love that vine, but that is a good question. Like, how do they know? Like, if they're not near anything, how do they know to grow in that direction?
Morning glory holes are the best glory holes because it's in the morning. No.
Okay, so yeah.
No, but yeah, there is. I think there is a commonality between that, but that gets into my indigenous side, where I think that the huge circle of life and that everything is symbiont to everything else around it, right? So even if you go into like ice, right? Like ice holds memory like a freaking hard drive, or
crystal does.
Yeah, crystal does. I really believe in my core, that is the case. It's the circle of life, but but if you were to catch me, like, and I'm like, dude, that freaking tree is bringing tree ants to its circle of life to eat my freaking roof, I'm gonna kill all you. I'm gonna kill the tree. I'm gonna kill the ants.
So I won't kill the tree, but I will decimate the ant population
by spraying poison on the tree.
No, I leave out poison bait traps for those little bastards. They get into my house every spring, every effing spring. I have an ant problem. And if I don't put the bait out early enough, I have an ant problem all summer. All summer. Into my kitchen. Pisses me off. Last summer, I didn't kill them fast enough, and they stayed in my like I couldn't leave butter like on the counter. Everything had to be like hermetically sealed so that the friggin' ants couldn't get in it. And my honey, I had to like put in a Tupperware container, like the big bottle of honey with diatomaceous earth around it, like in a little well of diatomaceous earth, so that the ants couldn't get onto the honey container.
Yeah. No, we got it hard this year too. Jim's been fighting the freaking. She's like, the other day she was outside. She's like, comes back in. She's smoking a cigarette. She's like, "Fuck, the ants go marching 2 by 2. They're coming in like 20 by 20 every second into the freaking air conditioner.
They're going to carry you out in the middle of the night."
Yeah. Nah, because they're coming into the kitchen. Same thing. And she's been fighting them. And
you have to build up your garden, because I have toads in my garden. And, since I started gardening and like really paying attention and cultivating as much as I could, because the first like 4 years we lived here, I didn't give a crap. Like my yard looked like it did when they turned the place over to us, which, I mean, it wasn't terrible, but I wasn't planting flowers. But in the last year, I've gotten really into it, and I got more toads. So the toads they need to eat more of the mosquitoes, though. Those little things, they just won't go away. And somehow they're coming into my house. I don't know how. I'm getting buzzed. I'm getting buzzed in the middle of the night as I'm trying to go to sleep, like in the dark.
Yeah, no, I'm a scorched earth type of dude. I'm like, kill it all. 20 feet from around the house, we'll just destroy it all. Call it a day. She's like, no, but I got my, because every Halloween she puts gourds and stuff out in the yard, and they turn in really pretty, but it brings the freaking insects, but they'll turn into like big, almost like pumpkin patches, but it's so dry that, in Texas that they never produce pumpkins or anything. So, but it's a pretty thing for her. And I'm like, screw that. Just kill it all, and then we won't have anything to worry about.
I've got 2 gigantic hay bales sitting on my porch waiting for me to buy pumpkins to put on.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's harboring all kinds of crap right now.
Yeah.
Aside from it being a pretty sweet place for my cats to lay and set off my door alarm, I'm sure there's all kinds of spiders. Oh God, I went out on my back porch last night and I saw one of those giant frickin' spiders that I talked about seeing when I was driving out of Brown Springs last weekend. They followed me home. There was one that had spun a web like off of my back patio, because I've got a covered deck right on my back porch, and it's got like corbels that come out, and it had spun a web from the corbel like down to the rose bush and then like back over the deck railing. And it was like, I'm not even kidding you, it was one, I call them wood spiders. I have no idea what they are. They're not the yellow and black and white ones. These are like nasty
banana spiders.
They're nasty, like big butt spiders that make, noises when you hit them as you're driving down the road. They're big enough to make a tink, boom. They bump your car.
Yeah. No, I'm the opposite. Like the right by my gate, actually, there's like 4 or 5 tarantula webs, and I'm like, yeah, the tarantulas are back. Jim's like, screw you, I'm going here back to San Antonio.
Okay, so I went looking for spiders in my front yard because I noticed holes all over the dang place. Did I tell you this last time? So I went out like when the sun like lowered with Lucas and a pitcher of water. I'm like, let's go hunting spiders because I want to know what's in my yard. So we found those holes, and before I could even pour water down one hole, there was a giant toad sticking out of one of them. And I was like, toad holes? There's toad holes? Toads make holes. So I started pouring like a little bit of water down each one to see what came crawling out. All toads.
Really?
I've got a toad army in my front yard.
That's dope.
Right?
I heard horny toads are supposed to be making a comeback this year. Remember horny toads? Because dude, I used to have so back when in same house that I live in now, but back in my mid to late 20s, we ended up getting rid of a couch and a recliner, and we just put them like right out in the yard, and it was like a place to chill, like right away, not too far from the barbecue pit. And I had this freaking horny toad that lived under the recliner that I sat in. Like me and him were homies. And he's like I'd go out there, recline, have my beer and stuff, and he'd like come out there and like just chill next to the recliner, and I'd talk to him and hang out with him. He's a cool dude. But I haven't. But other than being a young kid, because I remember when I was a young kid, they were everywhere. Like armadillos were everywhere. Like we used to catch
armadillos are still everywhere. I just only like ever really see them on the side of the road because the Texas state animal is a dead armadillo.
Yeah,
it is. So Bristol asked, hey Monica, weren't you raising a brown recluse on your door? Yes, I was, because I didn't know it was a brown recluse, and I was like, no. He's like right next to the outside door. He can stay. He's eating the bugs. But then he just kept sitting on the wall looking at me, and it got bigger and bigger. And then I noticed the violin on his stupid head. And I was like, oh, dude.
You gotta go.
Sorry. Here's a blast to diatomaceous earth. And then when that didn't kill him right away, my husband had to go finish him off. I felt bad.
Have you ever got by a brown recluse?
Hell no, and don't jinx me. Now I have to knock on all the wood. No. And I don't want it.
It sucks. It sucks bad. I got bit up by a brown recluse, like not on my ass, but like right at like right where you, not a chick, but a dude, because y'all wear y'all's belts different than we do. But like right where the bottom of my belt would have been. So like on the border between my ass and my back or whatever. And yeah, it was pretty freaking intense. I waited like 3 or 4 days before I went to the hospital, but I ended up having to go to the ER, and I had a hole so big you could put your up to your thumb knuckle in it. Like it was nasty. It was freaking nasty.
Yeah. Oh God, there's not enough peppermint oil and spider repellent in the world. They don't like peppermint oil. That's how they rankled them in arachnophobia. They do lines of peppermint oil, and that's how they got the spiders to walk in a straight line.
No kidding.
No kidding.
I want to do a line of peppermint oil.
Yeah, do a line of peppermint oil. Let me know how that works out. Put a few drops of peppermint oil in your next bath. Put 5 drops of peppermint oil in your next bath. Tell me about that tingling sensation. Let me know how that works out for you.
You're right.
So I tell you that I found a dead wolf spider, like in the same mud room that the brown recluse was occupying.
Mm-mm.
He was curled up like dead next to the litter box. I saw it when he was all curled up, but he was fresh. He wasn't dried out. He was still pliable.
No, I always get the. Actually, one of our shows, Jim was in there, in there taking a shower, and we were doing a show, and I got off and I, went back into the living room, and she comes out of the freaking bedroom. She's like, "You didn't freaking hear me," and I was like, "No, what are you talking about?" She's like, "I've been screaming for 20." She's like, "I got in the shower, and there's a big freaking it was a wolf spider, but it was one of those big, probably a female, overly big wolf spider. I mean, literally, it was probably about.
Oh yeah, no, I've had those in my shower twice now.
Yeah, and she was screaming bloody murder, and I'm like, "Yeah, man, Bigfoot and blah blah." Had Bigfoot, no idea what was happening.
Herky durky doo, Bigfoot, herky durky doo.
She's like, "I was about to die," and then I was like, "Well, I'll take care of it later because I'm going to take a shower." So I'll
my soul would leave my body. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
that's my thing now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, no, I'll take care of it. I'm gonna take a shower here in a couple minutes. And she's like, oh, you better kill that thing or throw it outside or something. And I was like, oh, I have no problem. Don't worry about it. And then I went, took a shower. Nothing was in there. The next morning,
Because she
like,
wasn't there. He was like, hey,
yeah,
take your clothes off and get in the shower. I mean,
yeah.
don't mind me in the corner with all 20 million eyes staring at you.
Staring at you.
Yeah. So twice I've gotten into my house is over 100 years old. So I'm sure there's cracks all over the damn place I'm unaware of. To be honest, I'm shocked I don't see more spiders in the house, but I got 4 cats. So that is their job. They are spider patrol. Do your job and eat the damn spiders. But twice I've gotten into my shower and I didn't know the spider was in there. And it just gives me the willies to think about, because the first time, right, I get in the shower and I've got like a white shower curtain. So you think I'd see it, but I've got like brown tile. So I'm thinking the little bastard was on the tile. But, I get in and I immediately wash my hair. So I put my hair, like I stand with my back to the shower and I kind of tilt my head back because I got this thing about getting water on my face. So
I do too.
So I'm like, I'm letting the run down my back and I feel something like kind of slide down my back. And I'm thinking like it's hair, right? So I'm, continuing to do this. I take a step forward, turn around, and there's a goddamn wolf spider fighting for its life in the current of water running towards my drain. And I mean, my soul didn't leave my body at that point in time, but if that little dude like didn't fall off of me and I'm looking down and I see one come just walking on like across my stomach or some crap, oh God, I would die. I would have died. They'd
have found you in the shower like Psycho.
Yeah. I would have probably broken my neck trying to get the F out of that shower.
No, I'd have just waffle stomped him into the drain.
Hell no. I let the torrent take him down. I was like, sucks to suck, dude. Like, you're on your way. Hope you know how to swim and hold your breath, which they can, by the way.
Yeah.
If you see them in the pool, they're still alive probably, unless they're at the bottom.
Yeah.
So, I was at my friend's house. Okay, the same house where Lucas almost drowned a few weeks ago. I was swimming in his pool a few years ago, and I was doing laps back and forth. It's not that big of a pool, but I was going to the diving board and back to the shallow end, and back to the diving board and back to the shallow end. And so I'm kind of like waiting, like I'm just, in the middle of the deep area, and he's walking around and he looks down. And he's like, oh, there's a tarantula in the water. And I'm like, the F. So I look, and sure enough, this little bastard's doing the backstroke. Ooh. There's one of them over there, like knocking shit over in my kitchen. He's doing the backstroke, like around the edge of the pool in the water. And I'm like, yeah. A tarantula.
Nice.
The fact that we were in the same body of water disturbed me greatly. I
don't mind tarantulas. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't. Spiders aren't a big thing for me. Because who really throws a shoe? Like all it takes is a shoe to freaking wipe it out. So that, but
yeah, you got to hit it from across the room with the shoe.
Yeah, you just go up to it and be like, "Hey, buddy, sorry,
the spiders can jump 5 feet.
The wife won't let you in the house." Cool. Jason said, "Breezy, I've had close encounters with spiders, scorpions, and poisonous snakes, but I have to believe you survived several actual bites. Your survivor, G props." I did. I have. Yeah, I've had snakes. Just recently, not too many. A couple months ago, I was outside and yeah, I had to get. I remember. I was gonna leave the gas can out for my weed whacker for Jen to get, gas in the morning, and went out there barefooted, and It was underneath my. So I don't
Rookie
have a
move,
porch.
bro. Rookie move. Don't go out there barefoot.
Dude, I'm an Indian. I can go barefoot all the time. Like I'll walk barefoot. I don't care.
I'll let you know when you're missing your lower leg because you're an Indian. Barefoot.
That'll be because of the diabetes. But yeah, so I went out there and I have a front porch. I have a staircase, like a metal, and then it turns into wood like the last 3 steps, and put everything underneath there, so it doesn't get sun bright.
Sorry, my back is hurting me. That's why I'm moving around so
Good.
much.
Mine does too.
I gotta stop my camera for a minute. Sorry.
You're preaching to the choir. And yeah, I just feel like something like it felt like somebody hit my freaking toe with a hammer. And I was like, what the hell is that? And then, got the gas can, went back inside, and I'm just chilling on my couch. I'm like, man, it's not going away. It's just getting worse and worse. And like after about, I don't know, maybe 10, 15 minutes, I look down and my whole foot's like purple and swollen.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I was like, oh. And then I started.
That doesn't look good.
Yeah, I started doing like fists with my feet. You know what I mean? Like how you kind of curl your toes in. And there was these 2 little points on my toe that was starting like milky white stuff.
Oh man.
And I was like, oh yeah, that's a steak.
Whoops.
Yeah, bit by a snake. I even hit Josh Turner. I was like, dude, I think I just got bit. And he's like,
I remember, yeah.
Yeah,
you're trying to get your son to take you to the hospital. And he's like, yeah, no, bro, I can't do it.
Yeah, he's like, dude, I got a chick, bro.
Rub some dirt in it and call me in the morning.
Yeah, so I was like, it probably ain't gonna be that big of a deal anyway. Because I didn't hear a rattle, right? So, I took that out of the equation. It's not gonna be a freaking rattlesnake. And the 2 points were pretty close together. So whatever it was smaller. So I think it was like maybe a copperhead or, what are those red and black and yellow ones?
Oh, coral snakes.
Coral, yeah, something like that. Because we got them a lot out here. So I don't worry about it. But by the next day, it was all right. It was my whole leg. Ended up going up purple up to like my mid thigh, and then it started. I was like, it'll be all right.
It didn't fall off. It's good.
Yeah, exactly.
It didn't kill you. It made you stronger and gave you more effed up phobias.
Yeah. There you go. But, like that's kind of the way we were raised anyway, certain kids back in the Gap, if I stepped on a rusty nail, oh, you better get a tetanus shot. We're like, shit, it's just a rusty nail. So what?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, no big deal. Bob wire, whatever.
It's all good. What are we looking at here? I'm trying to see how many people.
Oh, Scott said, didn't Monica say she sleeps with a helmet on to keep out the creepy crawlies?
No, it's not to keep out the creepy crawlies. It's for my hair because I'm a vain broad.
After that roach in my ear, I slept with a beanie on at the house.
Oh.
Yeah.
I sleep with earplugs on. I sleep with I'm not even going to say it because it makes everybody laugh. I sleep with like a hat type product on my head. Not every night. But it's satin lined because my hair.
My hair.
Like Ford Fairlane, my hair.
Yeah.
You remember that? Did you see that movie?
Oh yeah, Ford Fairlane.
I love Ford Fairlane. I might watch that tomorrow.
Yeah, that roach that got in my hair, that was a good one, but that was just more of an ooh factor. But it was a very surreal experience feeling that thing go when they extracted it, going like, and then just hearing a ringing, bing,
Like Gone in the Moon.
Yeah, not hearing. Yeah, because what happened was when they went in there, it popped my eardrum, so I didn't hear nothing out of that ear for like
that's painful.
7 years
painful.
or something. Oh yeah, it sucked. It's sex booze, and not in a good way. Very much, yeah. But yeah, that just made me go. And then I remember one time I got bit by a freaking mystery bug.
Those are fun.
Yeah, so we lived out at the same spot, and everyone was poor. It was like a freaking trap house, basically. You know, my brothers lived there. My ex's, her brother. It was just a bunch of kids living in it, you know. And so we couldn't afford, garbage, takeout, right? So I had this great idea, and I was like, "Oh, we'll just take these 4x8s and we'll put it underneath this window and drill it to the house, and put 2x4s and drill and basically make a dumpster, and that window is the dumpster, So every time you have trash, you just chunk it out the window into the
Why not?
Right. So come time for eviction,
right?
And we had to actually clean that place up. Yeah, I was in there digging through something and digging trash out, and something bit my freaking hand, and it swole my hand up like a mitt. Like it looked like it was about to pop. Like I couldn't bend. Yeah, I couldn't bend joints. I couldn't. Like my fingers were fatter than sausages. I guess my chick was happy, but but yeah, it like swole my shit for like I don't know. It was I'd say close to a week. My hand was like that, and I was like,
that sucks.
Yeah, they're like, dude, you gotta go to the doctor. And I'm like, no, dude, you just gotta roll one for me because I can't.
Gotta rub some dirt on it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Once the skin regrows and the swelling goes down.
Yeah, it's not gonna matter. But anyway, we're getting to our 2-hour mark, and Monica's got a busy day and a busy week. And
to get up early. I can't even sleep then.
So
being a girl sucks. All right.
I don't know. I'd trade it any day.
Yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I mean, I guess it just depends. It just depends.
So yeah, so we'll go ahead and call it. Monica, I know you already said what you're going to be on tomorrow, but go ahead and give everybody a recap and give your sign out and all that good stuff.
So tomorrow's a busy day for Monica. I'm going to be on Paranormal Among Us with Paranormal Paul tomorrow. I think it starts at 8, he said. So I'm going to be on there, and we're going to be interviewing somebody who had a terrifying Bigfoot encounter out near Mount St. Helens. And because I spent a decent amount of time kind of researching around there, I really wanted to be part of that interview. So Paul and I are going to be talking to this guy tomorrow over on his channel, Paranormal Among Us. And then immediately following that, I get to jump on with Donnie Cho Says Stuff. And he certainly does. I think that this might be on Rumble. I'm not sure if it's going to be here on YouTube or if he's going to jump on Rumble, because he likes to talk and say things that YouTube would flag him for. So we might be over on Rumble. If you check out my Facebook page, my Our Paranormal World page, I will post where I am. I don't post that stuff on my personal page, just so you guys know. It's always going to be over on the Our Paranormal World Facebook channel. And then after Donnie Cho Says Stuff, then I get to go on, live at 11 p.m. Central with Bigfoot Michigan Rob, as I do every Saturday. And I'm not sure what he and I are going to be discussing, but Rob's always an entertaining guy, so I'm sure it'll be fun. And then on Tuesday, I'm going to be on Codex of Curiosities, I believe. Yeah, with Rye Boss. I'm going to be on there Tuesday night. So be sure to check it out. if you like hearing my stories. I'm going to be talking to Rye about Fae, apparently. So you get to hear even more fairy tales from Monica.
Fairy tales. Yeah, no, Monica, I'm glad that you're going to be on those because you're an awesome pit of knowledge and curiosity as well. So I think that's badass. Yeah,
My head is swimming with useless information.
Right. I'd love to be on Donnie Cho's show. Let him know because
he'll let you on. You want me to have him send you an invite?
Yeah, well, no, actually, tomorrow I got to get my car worked on. So
excuses.
Yeah, no, I literally have to take off work early. My son-in-law is gonna fix my. I got to get my my cooling fans done before the temple thing because they're kind of shitting on me. So I want to make sure I'm not stuck in Waco or something, you know, or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing tomorrow night. But I'm not sure what time he'll be leaving. Because he usually splits around 9. So
who, Cho?
No, my son-in-law.
Oh.
He's one of those early to bed, early to rise kind of cats. So he goes to bed at like by 10, and he's usually up by 5 in the morning type of stuff. So
I'm usually like asleep by midnight or 1, and then up whether I like it or not at 6:30. Yay.
Yeah. But yeah, just let him know I'd love to be on a show, especially if it's on Discord, because there's a lot of I may seem very unfiltered, but I have many filters.
Oh, this is filtered.
Yeah, this is extremely filtered.
This is very, like, for me too, because we know that I would get right along with the Drunk Sailor Club. So I am actually watching my mouth.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, my innuendos are pretty. I wouldn't say offensive.
It's what she said, and
yeah,
Joe's full of them. Joe's full of them.
You can't stop me.
And we should do a Discord like once a month, and just really, I don't know that anybody in our chat would want to hear it.
I think it'd be hilarious.
But you want to see unfiltered. Well, actually, you know what? When we're in New Orleans, you're going to get drunk and unfiltered.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah, there is going to be no filters.
And I was thinking, when we're there, like, you want to go live one night?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we can go live on here. I think that would be fun. One of our channels, whichever one.
We'll do mine that way because I don't care.
I'm not monetized. I don't give a shit about me.
If you strike me down,
I'm like
more powerful than you could ever imagine.
I think I'm like 60 or 70 subscribers away from being monetized, whatever the hell that means. But it's this little goal thing on my YouTube analytics app that I have. It's like, you're this far away from, I don't know, being able to give out membership. I don't plan on starting memberships, or people, I guess, can what they donate to the, like what they did with like Tex and Josh and all that. Right. Like people can do like super stickers and stuff. I don't even know what that is, but I'm 70 people away from it.
Yeah, I got one of those. I got one of those as well, and I'm like, man, I don't consider myself a content creator, and it's fun. I like.
Yeah, it's for fun.
It's hobby.
I mean, I get to share my useless information that people find entertaining, which is awesome. I love that. I love that I can tell people things. But when I was in the jewelry industry, I liked it in educating people too. And people would come in and ask me questions about diamonds or semi-precious stones, and I'm just yep.
Yep. Same with me and bongs. They come into the shop and I'm like, this bong's got a 4-piece perk. What you got to do is how to clean and make sure all your perk holes.
Get all that resin out of there.
Get all that resin out of there. You'll be great. Yeah.
Hey, Wedge has a good name at the Speakeasy After Dark.
That's a good one.
That is a good one.
Real quick story. I actually had a customer. She's kind of a regular, and she came in yesterday, and she goes, do y'all sell anything that like makes you sober up? And I was like, no, not like. She's like, my son ate a bunch of edibles, and she's like, he's freaking the fuck out. And I was like, oh yeah, I've been there before. I was like, time. That's the only thing you can do. Just wait it out. I was like, I don't think they make like a instant detox type.
I mean, if he wants to go to the hospital, they can administer drugs that will do that.
That conversation, she was like, last time he did this, I took him to the hospital, and they just took his blood pressure and said, no, go home, and
quit eating the mushrooms in the front yard, kid.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, she kept talking about it. She's like, he can't. And someone told me to put on cartoons, but then someone else told me not to let him watch cartoons because it'll scar him for life. And I was like, what are we talking about? I was like, we'll just end the professionalism here. I was like, what are we talking about? What did he eat? She's like, a shitload of shrooms. And I was like, oh, actually, the other few weeks back.
Speaking of that,
so I am a somewhat professional about that. And I was like, yeah, no, there's nothing. I was like, tell him to wrap up like ET on Halloween and sit, put on some mellow music or something, chill. And she's like, oh, so there's, and I was like, nah, like, I'm sorry, but, I don't care what they sell at Walgreens or whatever. There's nothing's going to snap them out of it but time. But I thought that was pretty freaking hilarious. Like, because she came to me specifically. She's like, Breezy, I knew you'd know.
You look like you know shit about edibles. I need answers.
I'm like, those aren't edibles. Those are shrooms. Totally different. Yeah.
And don't eat them like a sack of gummy bears, dude. Like a half of a Delta 8 jacked my shit up for a solid like 4 hours. I was so pissed off at my brother. It'll help with the pain. Didn't help with the pain. I was in pain and tripping balls. I was pissed.
Yeah, I'm the opposite. I'm like, I'm Cookie Monster type shit.
I can't. I don't do that. So it took a lot for him to talk me into it, and my back was hurting so bad at that point. Yeah, Easter. Yeah. I was cooking Easter dinner, and about an hour after, he's like, just take a half of one. It'll help with the pain. My friend takes it all the time. It helps her sleep at night, and she's got a lot of pain. And I'm like, okay, if you say so. And they just harped on it until I was like, okay, half of a stupid gummy. Yeah.
Yeah. Nah,
about an hour later, still in pain. But now I can feel sound. And my brother looks over at me and he's like, is it kicking in? I was like, you. I was like, I'm tripping out, still in pain. And I have to finish cooking dinner while I'm tripping out in pain.
Yeah. No, yeah. I don't even smoke that, but I do love my hallucinogens.
I don't. I mean, I don't even know if those were. I mean, they were Delta 8s. They were supposed to be, I guess, similar to the green leafy edibles. Mm-hmm. Was what I was brought to believe. But I just feel like they're not supposed to feel sound.
Yeah, no. I like to see sound. I'm like, that tone is.
I don't want to do either. I just didn't want to be in pain.
But that's just me. I'm like, but anyway, all right. Well, thank you as always to my wonderful co-host Monica, and you can catch us every Thursday on Monica's Our Paranormal World, and then you can catch us every Friday on the Breezy Speakeasy. Right?
That's right. It's right. Oh. No, it's the opposite direction of what I see on the screen. I have to point the opposite way.
But yeah, so anyway, one love, God bless. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate y'all listening to our rambling And
It's rambling after a while.
yeah,
we
and keep searching for the truth because it's out there, and the moon's not real.